Train by day, Kyle Wigginton podcast by night, all day.
And my playlist for whenever I die is basically what it is. And it's probably never going to get played at my funeral, but I think it'd be tight if like some of these songs were played at my funeral. So it's like a playlist that I made for that.
For sure.
That's on it. It's called Shed My Skin.
That's the playlist name?
Shed My Skin on Spotify. If you ever want to like, listen.
I'm gonna find that.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna be when I die.
I still have my another bar playlist on my Spotify.
Yeah, dude, that's a great playlist.
That's a great playlist.
So for those of you who don't know, who've never been to the bar, like maybe my mom and whoever else listens to this, there's a playlist on Spotify that I used to bartend to all the time, and it's like early '90s, early 2000s music. It's like stuff when I was in high school, so it's very nostalgic. But it's freaking boss, dude. That's when music was different then.
Oh yeah, totally. No, it came from a different place.
Yeah.
People always say like, you know, it was about the times that they were in.
Okay.
But I don't think like there's different things going on, but I don't think the amount of turmoil or the amount of good things in the world has changed that much. It's just different things. Like it's like same people, just different faces kind of idea.
Okay. So you don't think the nostalgia, that's like when you were younger and things were better.
Yeah.
So like in things in your life, like we're older now. So the shit looks like worse to us, right? Mm-hmm. Like Noah Beltrami. Okay. Noah Beltrami.
Yeah.
That's how I always introduce the podcast. But
okay.
yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. But now back to nostalgia though. Yeah. So like there was, we're different ages, right? Like you're younger than me.
Yeah.
By quite a bit.
I think so.
So why does that music still hit you then?
I think, I think because I was raised on it. So like I was raised on, you know, I think one of the first songs I ever heard was Panama by Van Halen. Mm-hmm. And like I don't know, dude, probably 4 years old. And I heard Eddie Van Halen's guitar riffs and I was like, whatever that is, I'm attracted to it. It's so pure. Like you're not, because like when you're young and you like hear that stuff and you like it, you just like it. There's no like agenda for you liking. You're not trying to impress somebody. And I was like, and I realized too, like especially recently, that like when you like something like that purely, you shouldn't fight it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Be you.
Yeah. There's a reason you like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking about that this morning when I forgot what I was even thinking about. Oh yeah. This guy coming on up to you, his name is Elmont.
Cool.
And he's like a local hip hop guy. And I was listening to some of his music before I do the podcast with him. And something about his music, it's just authentic. And like there's a difference in like he's not big or anything. And like hopefully he makes it big.
Sure.
But I mean, I feel like a lot of the music right now that's out, that's a big artist, their music's really not saying anything.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah. And this guy was actually saying something in music. I was like, this is dope.
Yeah.
So anyway, on to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Noah and I met, I guess at the bar, right? When I was bartending.
Yeah. When you just started here.
Yeah. And we started talking about like science and stuff. And I didn't realize, that he was a student working on his PhD at Tulane, right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So what do you do? So
I'm a supra molecular chemist. Mm-hmm. So super molecular is one word. And so with that, what you're working with is like, if you think about water, right? If you think about a simple H2O molecule, that water and those water molecules will interact with each other, but they're not permanent. Like it's not a permanent bond. So when you see like, things like surface tension, other like just the weird ways you'll like see water interact, that's all due to hydrogen bonding. So molecules interacting with each other. Mm. And so, but there's all kinds of molecules can have those kinds of interaction. And you can actually do really cool things with them. Like, you can make molecular switches. I mean, I can really get into it, but it's hard to,
you can't get into it because of like patent reasons and stuff?
No.
Okay.
No,
just because it'll be too deep for like the listeners on the podcast.
I just don't even know where to start.
So supra, is it like superfluids? Is that what you're working with? Stuff like that?
So it's supra because because you're thinking about like it's everything that encompasses it's all non-covalent interactions. So covalent's like the way a carbon and an oxygen are attached to each other, right? So it's like pretty permanent. Like you just like for example, like ethanol, like C bonded to the oxygen, it's pretty permanent interaction or a pretty permanent bonding
because of the electrons.
Right. Because of the stability of that bond. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But like hydrogen bonds are weaker interactions. And then you have things like charge, like positive and negative charges interacting. Like there's an attraction to that, not as strong as covalent, but it can do a lot of things that people don't realize on a molecular scale. Yeah,
I got into something a while here recently. God, I can't. Come on, brain. Don't do this to me. It's like, what is it? It's they're talking about. I saw this scientist. I forget the words that I'm using right now.
So,
but the scientist took this water and he figured out that he could create like another. What is it? I'll just look it up real quick. I don't want to. Yeah, you can keep talking about your stuff.
Anyway,
so I know when you did your PhD on. We were talking to one time about was it optogenetics? Is that what you did your PhD on?
No. So that was actually I had to give a talk on a topic of interest, and I was talking to you. I don't know. I think it was just a regular night, and we ended up talking, and you were like, "Oh, I've been interested in this field. Like I've seen it on my feeds or whatever." And you brought up optogenetics, and I mean, I'm a chemist, but I don't really mind going outside of my field.
You should.
If something's cool, if there's a cool new emerging field out there, I'm drawn to it.
Yeah.
And I like how you brought that. You were actually the inspiration. So I ended up giving a 45-minute talk on that subject. I did a ton of research into it. But it could have been, it was a talk that could have been on any topic of my choice. They kind of wanted towards chemistry, but I was like, no, you guys got to hear about this. And everybody at the talk had never heard of it before.
Yeah.
So it's even more amazing that you, as someone that like, doesn't do science for a living, like like you're not in the lab for a living, you brought that out to me.
And into a lot of weird shit, bro.
I love it though.
Yeah.
It's great. But that's like why talking to people from like just everybody, talking to everybody is so enriching.
Yeah. And even like you said, going outside of your field, I think more scientists should do that because you realize that there are more things that are connected than just like in your, like there should be people that study one field strictly, but there should also be people that are the Renaissance men, right?
That's right.
They know a little bit of everything because they can see how the patterns are connecting.
Sure.
Yeah. But this is what I was going to say. Easy water. You ever heard of this? Exclusion zone water?
No.
Oh, bro, it's about to change your life. We'll talk about this. I don't know that much about it yet. Okay. But this doctor or this scientist took this exclusion zone water, and he figured out that he could make a tube out of like this negatively electrically charged, or maybe it was like positive charged material, and this exclusion zone water would run continuously through this thing for like ever.
That's wild.
Yeah, super wild. So,
but you can do. That's what I'm saying. Like the kind of chemistry that we do, we kind of do that
like
kind
that.
of thing.
Yeah.
So where we will take, like interactions like that on that like really small scale, and you can do stuff that like has a huge, basically just higher order things like it can have a huge impact, just those small interactions, but they'll be cumulative. They'll sum up, and they'll end up being like you can make like nano switches, all kinds of stuff.
But I think one of the things they're dealing with right now is they're dealing with the scaling problem, like because they can do it on like a very small level, but when it comes to scaling up, then it's harder to like.
That's a huge issue.
Yeah,
in supermolecular chemistry because it's like a lot of the stuff we do. Like I'm like if you're in the research lab, like especially like I am in grad school, like we're working with like chemicals on a milligram scale, but then you look at like what does like the government want for their projects? They want you to be doing stuff on a kilogram scale, and you're like, dude, like I can't make a metric ton of this. I have 50 milligrams of it. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, so it's a huge issue with chemistry all the time. Getting it from research to doing it.
So what's the ultimate goal with what you guys are doing? I mean, I'm sure it's got to be probably energy production, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. So I'm in my last year of grad school there, but dude, there is so much you can do. The energy production is interesting, of course. It's always interesting, especially to the big players that give you the money.
Yeah. That's the bad thing about science right now too, is like the people that are giving you the money just want you to do things that they're interested in. Like they don't want you to actually like push what science is wanting to push forward.
No. And there's been a lot of talk about that, but it's and people have talked about that a lot. Honestly, they've said, like, why can't science go back to this like more pure ideal of like, okay, like I think this is cool, so I want to do this
Exploration.
And there are actually some guys who still do that. Like there's a professor. He used to actually be at LSU, I think, and or Princeton, sorry, and now he's at Tulane, and literally all his lab does is try to like break world records for molecular structure. Like that's all that guy does. And some people like he people either like kind of feel a type of way about him pretty strongly. Either way, he's kind of polarizing, but I respect him.
Yeah.
I've come to respect him a lot because I'm like, this guy just does what he wants.
Yeah.
And he somehow, but he gets the money for it. He manages, he has a lab, and he does what he wants. So I have a lot of respect.
So what's the process in that? Like you have a cool experiment, you go write a grant for it or what?
Yeah. So you write a grant and
that's a bitch too, writing grants, isn't it?
Yeah. I just did that for the first time ever. And I'm still waiting to hear back about it, but it was a short grant compared to like what a lot of these guys do. Like I've seen some of these and they're like 20 pages long.
Yeah.
And they're detailed, dude. You got like references, citations, everything.
Like designing out their experiments and stuff.
Yes. And like, it is insane. And you might not even, you most of the time you don't get anything.
But if you get one grant written, you could probably put that grant proposal out for other.
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the one good thing about actually doing it, but that's a lot of fucking work.
Yeah. And it's also like a vicious cycle. Like the thing is to write a grant most of the time, you have to have done some work towards the topic. So let's say like you did 1/10 of the work that you're proposing. Like you're saying like 90% of it will be done if you give me this money, but we've done the first 10%. And we know it's possible. Mm-hmm. It's feasible. We're not just saying like, oh, we can do this. We've never done anything like it, but so you have to do some of the work to do that. If you're not being productive enough, if you're like not being productive enough and like you're not making new ideas, then you can't write new grants. Mm-hmm. So there's a real like negative feedback, like just a vicious cycle to that where, and it can go in both ways. If you're not producing stuff, you're not getting money. You're not able to write grants.
Well, you also have to, you have to get published in papers and stuff.
You get published. Yeah. And that's important to some people. Or it's like, I mean, the common phrase in academia is publish or perish. Mm. And it's a pretty succinct, like brutal saying, but, it has some truth to it. Some people really feel strongly about that. Some people kind of wave it off. But no matter what, it's always there.
Yeah.
And you do have to publish it.
But now Amir, one of our buddies right now, he just published something and he's getting all this feedback from it right now. Mm-hmm. And he's like, dude, it's a nightmare, man.
Oh yeah. No, it can be crazy, especially when you publish something that has like really never been done before.
A new idea. Yeah. Cause the old men just like fucking, they're like, no, this is not right. Mm-hmm. And that's why I go back to like what Elon Musk was saying. He said, people don't really change when they get to a certain point. No, so that's why it's nice that people die. I mean, that's how new ideas are born.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Like people die and then the fresh scientists come in. They're like, okay, well, this is how this is actually supposed to be done.
No, you absolutely need new perspective. It's so important, dude.
So keep dying, old people.
Yeah, that's right.
Yo, there's a guy at Tulane that I want to get on the podcast so bad. I mean, any of the people that you think should come on here, hit them up.
Yeah, I'd love to.
There's a guy at Tulane. He like wrote this book about death.
Is he professor?
I think so. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I got his like email saved in a draft, but I never actually emailed him. But I was like, I need to like reach out to this guy because he has this awesome book. It's a gnarly book about it.
I gotta get his name from you after this. That's super cool.
Yeah. I think he's like philosophy or psychology, one or the other. But I mean, he's there at the campus.
Man, little promotion. Tulane is awesome, dude, for professors. Like there are some great minds there. They're like in every field.
I hate Nat so bad.
I know they're awful.
He's dead now.
You got that boy?
Got him. Ugh.
Damn.
Now I got Nat guts on my hands. Yeah, no, I see a lot of people that when they get to Tulane, they stay there for a while. So do you plan on sticking around after you graduate?
Dude, I have no idea. I have no idea. My girlfriend's from here and she just became a dentist. She just got her degree in dentistry.
Oh, awesome.
From LSU. So I'm pumped for her, but now I'm like, hey, we might have to like pick up next year and like move. I have no idea where, because you can, I don't want to get it too much into it unless you do, but like I was born in Pennsylvania, went to Texas came here. And so I feel like people have a lot of destinations they want to go to, but maybe this is lame, but I kind of just feel like I don't really care where I go.
You're like me, dude. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like people ask me all the time, they're like, do you like to travel? I'm like, not really.
Right.
I just like to sit here and let the world come to me.
Right. Yeah. And it's just like, it's just going to be what it's going to be. So I'm not going to worry about it too much. And so basically what I'm trying to say is like, I got to figure that out. So I'm probably going to graduate like next summer, or this coming summer. And it's kind of stressful because
you basically just go where the job is, right? Because you're scientists.
Exactly. Yeah. Because I'm going to apply to like 30 jobs. And the job market's good right now. And I'm going to apply to 30 jobs. I might get offered like 2 positions. And that's in a good job market. Like I've heard people apply to like 60 jobs and they get 1 offer. Yeah. It's insane, dude. It is wild.
It's a hustle, especially right after college. Like I did the same thing right fresh out of college in my degree field. And luckily I knew someone. That's what it all boiled down to.
That's what I'm saying. Oh, the nepotism is so real. Yeah. It's so real, dude.
So that got me my first job. And then I stayed there for 3 or 4 years. And I was like, I'm done with this shit.
Yeah.
Can't do this.
No, and that's the other thing too, is like a lot of, I don't know of like a single scientist that I've known or so like that I've known personally that stayed at the same job for more than 5 years. And I'm not just saying it's good or bad or either way. It's just an observation. Like,
right.
Like they're hopping around, especially after your first job.
Yeah. Like you're wanting to do your own research and stuff. Right. So if you go to a certain job, they're probably going to like make you do their research.
Oh yeah.
That's why I think a lot of scientists, they go into those professor positions.
No, dude, you hit it 100%.
Yeah.
That's exactly true, because that's why people will be like, oh, I don't want to stay in academia. And like, even me, dude, like I'm in my late 20s and I'm walking around the college campus and I'm like, I can't do this. I can't. How am I going to do this when I'm 40 years old?
Yeah, you're like, I've been here my entire life. I don't want to.
Exactly. And I just need to get off like a school campus. Like I just got to get out of it. But you're right. Professors will always say like, I get to look at what I want. Like that professor I was saying, like just makes molecules to break world records. Mm-hmm. Guy's doing what he wants.
As long as he teaches his class, or probably can have his like assistant teach a class.
That's it. He might teach one class a whole semester, 2 days a week, 1 hour, and the rest of the time he's just doing what he wants.
It's not a bad gig.
It's not a bad gig.
And they probably pay for your loans too, right? If you have student loans?
I don't know about that actually. It's a good question. But I know like companies will do that too. Like if you go into like private industry. Yeah. But what you're saying is true. Like you are almost never, pretty much never researching what you want. Yeah. So you get if you get really lucky.
And then you get tendered, you just tell everyone to fuck off.
Basically. Yeah, dude. That's a crazy what's it called, man? Like structure in academia. Yeah. Having 10 years, wild.
Yeah, I think there was a professor, he was doing like this online course. And this guy, like he was pissed off. So he was like going on a rant. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I'm fucking tenured. That was like his beginning of the speech. He's like, I'm fucking tenured. I can say what I want to. Yeah. And then everyone was like, okay. Yeah. And he just went off, dude. It was nuts. He's like, I'm retiring next year anyway. Fuck it all.
It's wild. It's lawless because, like like when I go to.
What is the reason for that though? For tenure?
Honestly, I should know more about that.
Is it just a respect thing? Or like if we've been in here for so long, we respect your.
I think it's like an art. Like I think what you're saying, it's like an archaic, like respect thing. Where like, professors like did so much for the field. They're in it for 40, 50 years. Or not even that at this point. Doesn't take that long, but it's just a respect thing. Yeah. You've done so much, like, okay, you can stay here forever. And they need a really good reason to like get you out if you have 10 years. Wild.
Oh, they can get you out though?
It's been done, but it's immensely difficult. Yeah. Yeah. Like even like you'll think there's a good reason. You need a 10 times better reason than that for some of these guys. Yeah. I had
an accounting teacher in college. It was accounting 2 is what it was. This guy was the biggest fucking dick ever. Oh, it's just an asshole, dude. But he was tenured and he's like, I've taken out this much in loans every year. Yeah. And we're like, why? And he's like, because if you stay in school, you never have to pay your loans back. So he's like basically taking a class every year and taking the maximum amount of loans he could. And he's like, it's going to die with me when I die.
Yeah, there's that I've seen that. I've seen.
And I was like, well, that's a good point, but like you said, I wouldn't be able to stay on campus for that long.
Oh, I can't do it, man.
No, I remember like college was fun and everything, and we had some really cool instructors there. Like I had one that was working on this technology. He brought us all up to his lab one day. It was I forgot what even this guy even taught. Something crazy, but he brought us up to his lab. and it actually might be implemented as technology now because this was like 10, 12 years ago, something like that. But he had this shopping cart full of products and he's like, this is what I'm working on. And he takes this shopping cart full of products and he pushes it through this like doorway. And when he did, all the stuff get rung up.
Oh, wow.
Everything in the cart got rung up. And he was working on these like little thin like wafer dills that you could put on the outside of the RFID type things.
Yeah.
Working on those, and you just put them on the products, like slap them on with a sticker, and you roll it through the thing, and it picks them all up.
That's neat.
And it could be he might have sold that. It might be like some of the technology they use right now for this kind of stuff. Because I know that I think Whole Foods, don't they have something like that now? With
Dude, I don't go to Whole Foods enough.
I don't go to Whole Foods yet, but I think Amazon bought it and they started implementing those kinds of things.
It's genius. I hope that guy makes a lot of money.
Dude, he was a very strange guy, but I was in business IT.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of very weird fucking people there.
Oh, yeah.
There was one dude, I remember him.
That's a crazy intersection.
It is nuts. Like you have these guys that they're super logical, but then they're also into technology.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there was one dude. I still don't know what he was talking about. Like we had this class. It was a database class.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm not sure if he was just that smart or if I just didn't, or he didn't understand the material enough to even get it across to us.
Right. Yeah.
But it was insane listening to this guy talk. And he would walk in with like a stack of books every time he couldn't even carry. So he would like ask people to help him carry his books down from his office.
Oh man. But like, you know what the thing is? Those guys are so interesting.
Oh, it was so interesting
because like, oh man, they're almost like unicorns in the wild.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, there's a reason they went that route because it's like, what else am I going to do in life?
Exactly.
Yeah, I need something, especially guys like they're that strange.
Yes.
They just want to be in their lab working.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like extreme introverts. And, but like, that's the thing, man. Like as I get older, I just respect those guys more because they just do what they want.
Yeah.
And it's like, and in like today's world, it's just so hard to be able to say that you do that. Right.
Yeah.
It's like crazy. It's insane to me.
Dude, there was one professor I had. He was so terrifying.
Really?
The reason he was terrifying is because of what he could do with computers. It was a computer forensics class.
That's a cool class.
It was the most fun class I ever had in college. It taught me so much. I still use that kind of stuff today. But this man, like, he basically warned you that anything you put on a computer can be recovered.
Yeah.
Even if you delete it and try to burn the hard drive, he's like, I can take it off. So one of our final assignments was he separated us in groups and he gave us a hard drive, just a brick hard drive. And he said, go recover the data on this and convict the criminal.
That's cool.
And it was dope, dude. We had we got this like this really cool software that would dive into like the deepness of the hard drive. And even if there was like fragmented data, you could pull it back enough to where it would refill in the data.
Yeah.
So basically it was a lot of child pornography, but they weren't really.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was a dope class, really dope class.
That's so crazy.
You have any cool professors like that?
I'm trying to think now, like as you brought the second guy up, I'm trying to think, man. It's like that guy I brought up. Oh man, I'm trying to think. That stand out in that way. No, I've never. Those two guys that you brought up are super cool. I mean, I've seen examples of it. I'm really trying to think. Like and go back into like my memory.
Well, I was also at Arkansas State University finishing up, so it's probably a little different than Tulane.
Yeah.
Tulane probably gets more straight and narrow professors.
Yeah.
The exotic ones get in Arkansas.
Exactly. Yeah. No, but the exotic guys are so cool, man. I've always had great professors. Actually, the thing I like about professors is they just have such a strong personality. A lot of them. The ones that are not like and like maybe not strong personality, but they just are the way that they are. Like to say we're talking. And if I think about like professors when I was an undergrad, like one guy he would hold like a tea time, like where he would come up and like make tea for everybody.
Oh, that's dope.
And and students loved him, and because he was like, and he would just sit there and like, but you can also talk about chemistry. So it was like a much better forum for discussing that kind of topic, and everybody was like way more relaxed, and he's a great professor. Yeah,
no, anytime you can you take the classroom vibe out of being a classroom,
yes,
and you make it something different. That's what makes people. I think that's one reason this bar is so successful. Is because it's almost like your living room when you come here.
Absolutely. No, man. I love this place.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's and like the way it expanded out is super dope. But man, it's like such great people. That's what I mean. Like I've had great conversations with so many people here, and including yourself, and it's been enriching.
That's what I love the most. I love just sitting down and chatting with people.
Yeah.
And chatting with people of all different cultures, all different backgrounds.
Yeah. I've seen people from every background, every culture here.
Yeah, and normally it's pretty chill. Sometimes we get a little heated.
Sure, of course. I mean,
but normally it's chill.
You know, it's gonna happen. Just not even like with a bar vibe. It's just people in groups, man.
Yeah,
people are really like we're just mammals.
Well, I think we should have heated conversations too, because that means that you're passionate about what you actually believe.
That's true.
Yeah. So if they're original ideas, get heated about them.
Sure.
If you're just mimicking what you hear on the news, fuck off.
Sure. Exactly. Yeah. It's like, and I've realized I've noticed that too. It's like, you know, at least make a stand up for a point, or whatever you like actually believe in. Like, because if you're just spewing pundit points, who cares?
No, those people don't last around here very long.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
Speaking of the world, man, what do you think about this fucking place right now?
The Earth?
Everything. Yeah. What's going on? Who knows?
Oh man. I don't know. Honestly,
you probably stay in the books and stuff a lot, don't you?
I do. I used to, dude, unfortunately I used to get into it online with people, and I just realized how useless it is.
Yeah, it's not doing anything.
You're not, because like you're not going to change people's opinion. You're just not going to do it.
Not online, especially.
Not online, especially. No, especially that. And people will say things. Of course, I mean, you know this is really well. People will say things that they would never say to you in person.
100%. Yes.
It's wild.
Oh yeah, dude.
It is. I've had people that I've known that were like calm, like quiet, and then they come out and they have a super extreme opinion on something, and then when you're like, yo, this isn't right, they'll be like they're just throwing slurs at you and everything. I'm like, what? And who? I'm like, did somebody hack your page, dude?
Well, then if you see him in real life, in IRL, in real life,
yeah, IRL,
yeah, I mean, then they're like totally different too. It's totally
like different, man.
Yeah, I had a recent run-in with someone that did that to me.
Really?
Yeah, they were talking very hardcore and on a text message.
Oh God.
And it was in a group message too, so everyone was seeing it, and I'm like, oh wow, this is bad. And then I saw them in real life the other day, and they were just like,
people do
just total silence. And I was like, what? I didn't even confront him about it. I was like, it's not even worth it.
Because he knows.
I'm just going to let it.
Knows.
Yeah, they know. I won't say he, she, but they know.
They know, right? Yeah. It's
no. Yeah. So I just let that one go. I was like, whatever. It's not worth it. Not worth the time.
Yeah.
But especially, I've had, there was one time in the past where one of my friends, we were talking about something, we disagreed on Facebook, and he like put this post on Facebook. And so I sent him a direct message. I was like, I'm not going to put this on. We're not just going to go back and forth. So I sent him a direct message. I was like, look, do you got a problem with something I said? I was like, just call me. We'll talk about it. Look, we'll talk about it. We'll get through it. Like friends will. Yeah. And he's like, no, we should do it on Facebook. And I'm like, no, we're not going to do this on Facebook so the whole world can see. And then, because I knew that I was on the minority opinion on the subject, and he knew it too. Yeah. So he's like, you're just, he knew I was going to
dunk on you.
Oh, that's all he wanted. Yeah. I was like, no, bro, we're not doing this. I just blocked him and deleted him.
Yeah. You're good.
I don't need
it's
you.
Good, man. It's good. I really will say, man, it's crazy how many people just can't talk intellectually. It's like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to get into like being like I don't want to sound like one of those Fox News people that's like, oh, like, video games cause violence and all this stuff. But for whatever, and I'm not saying that either, but for whatever reason, people are just like that. Like, you disagree with them. You're like, hey man, I don't agree with that. Like, what do you want to talk about it? They're like, no, I want to destroy you.
There's
verbally.
No emotional regulation.
There's no regulation. It's like goes directly to 10. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, but they just can't have a dialogue. It's like they just want to like go like resort to like violence, like either verbally, physically. They're like, I'll mess you up or something. And it's like, I just wanted to discuss like like why we disagree.
Yeah, that's the way it should be. Like they should be able to tell you like what their reason.
Yeah.
You should be able to tell them your reason. And then if you still disagree after that, go your separate ways. But you should be able to talk about it.
It's great.
And you're right. There's no emotional regulation anymore. I saw a fact the other day. It was that I'm going to slowly screw these numbers up, but whatever.
That's fine.
I think it was 40% of millennials are on some kind of SSRI.
Oh yeah.
That is insane to me. That 40% of people cannot deal with the world the way it is.
Yeah, I think also, man, I've never been to a therapist. I probably should go to one.
No, I don't think you should. I think you're doing fine. Like,
Okay, I appreciate that.
I've been around you enough to know that you're doing a good job. So I've never been to one either, and I have no desire to go to one.
Yeah, I don't either, but I feel like then people like say, "Oh, I went to therapy for the first time. I was like 45 years old, and like it changed my life." And I'm like, and that doesn't change how I feel about it, but that makes me kind of like think a little bit like.
But did it change your life, or did they put you on medication that makes you think your life is better?
That's what I was going to bring up, and like I said, I've never been to one, so this is an uneducated opinion, but like but I know that like therapists like will not hesitate to just like give you medication,
right?
Like, or tell you that you need like SSRIs and stuff like that. Like, I think there's a lot of different ways that you can go about it. Maybe a little bit more holistically, but you know, but it is scary. It's like, especially with like on the heels of, or like, I don't know, I guess we're still in the middle of the opioid epidemic. Mm-hmm. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah. And
I watched a lot of people get affected by the opioid epidemic, like, you know, past like 15 years.
Like people that you know?
Oh yeah, dude. It was crazy. Especially like, I mean, you were out there in Arkansas. I was out there in rural Pennsylvania, and it was like,
for us, it's like meth.
It's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
It was like, that was the real gateway drug, actually. Like opioids.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah. So like you go and get like some surgery or something, they give you pain pills, and then you're like hooked.
Yeah.
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 Actually, yeah. I was recently back in Arkansas, and someone dropped a bomb on me there. They're like, oh yeah, so-and-so's clean now. And I was like, what? I was like, I never knew so-and-so was dirty.
Exactly. That's what I mean. I didn't find out until like years later that like people like were having these issues, were going to rehabs and everything. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, I don't know. It's just,
what's part of what happens when you move away? When you move away, you kind of like fall off from people.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then you don't, I mean, and I know being back in Arkansas, like nothing changes.
No, that's the same way in my hometown.
Yeah, and it's just so like monotonous. Like I was back I was there for a week this time. And like it's very relaxing, it's very cool, but with where we live, there's always something going on.
Yes, exactly.
Like even if you're bored one day and there's nothing going on in town you want to go to, you walk down to the local pub, the bar like we're at right now.
Yes.
And you kick it with your homies down there.
And that's it.
Yeah, in Arkansas, it's not like that.
No, it's totally different. You're right. It's like, it's relaxing, but then you're kind of like, you kind of know you've moved on from there already. Like you're like, I have a life somewhere else.
Yeah.
And that's currently moving. And like, that's currently like where I belong, where I'm at. Like, and it's kind of like coming back to like a Tamagotchi after 10 years and being like, well, there's nothing here for me. You know what I mean? It's just,
well, I've been reading this new book. It's called The Human Zoo.
Okay.
The Human Zoo talks about, human beings, the animal of the human in a city structure, which is the zoo. And they call them super tribes. So they call them.
I like that.
So normally we're meant to be in smaller tribes, but when you put people in a city, they don't really know where the tribe is. So it always keeps them in like fight or flight mode because they don't know who their people are. They don't know who to trust and who not to trust. Yeah. So I think
that's cool.
Yeah. One of the concepts we're talking about in that is that it becomes a prison around us because you don't know who to trust. So you don't know where you're going. So you're always just like in this mode of fight or flight. And I think it's the opposite in Arkansas. I think in Arkansas, you know where your tribe is, but your prison becomes your mind.
Oh yeah.
Because you have so much, you have so much like space and time to like think and stuff. And then when you start thinking and have this extra, unless you have an outlet to put that thought into, you go inside of yourself and you like trap yourself in like a thought prison.
No, totally. That's exactly right, man. You will like, that's the thing is like, I don't realize the way I was thinking back then until I go back up there. And I'm like, man, now I realize like why like my thoughts were so negative and like I kind of just like in my own head all the time.
Yeah.
Exactly, dude. It's so true, man.
Well, and then some people, they look for outlets. So their outlets are opioids,
Yeah.
or alcohol.
Yeah.
That's why you have a bunch of alcoholics, or meth even up there.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It was really sad because, like I knew, and that's the thing. People also haven't. People like some people. Most people understand that it can happen to anybody, but a lot of people get it twisted, and they're like, oh, like whoever that happened to was weak-minded, was this, that. No, man, I've seen it happen to people that you would never think. People that I knew that were good, they were intelligent, all this, everything, man. There's no indicator of like whether or not you will get hooked. I don't think. I'm just saying from my opinion, because like just the variety of people that I've seen, and so any elitist takes on that where people are like, oh, it would never happen to me. Like, bro, you wouldn't have a chance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like,
no, if that's your mentality, then yeah, it would definitely happen to you.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. It's more likely to happen to you, actually.
Yeah. No, for me, I think one of the biggest things that helped me out in going through this like transition from going from Arkansas to like a city life was understanding psychology. Like I had a psychology minor in college, and like that was a lot of the stuff that I dove into deep whenever I got out of college, because I thought it was fascinating, the human mind.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think just understanding that kind of stuff and then diving into my own psyche, that helped a lot with me making the transition.
Well, I think too, dude, I think, I'm half joking, but I think like when you manage a bar for, 5 years, I think you should get an honorary bachelor's degree in psychology, because you're just, people come in with their minds loaded when they come in here, any bar really, but yeah, it's
that's
crazy.
true, man. Yeah, especially because I've been in this industry now for quite a while, and I was on Bourbon Street for 3 years
before you came here. Yeah,
that was where I got my PhD in psychology. On Bourbon Street. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
And then I came here and just started helping people.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
It's crazy. It's been an experience living in New Orleans. I can tell you that right now.
But that's the thing, is like the way you talk to people, the way you I've seen you in every social situation, I think, and you're successful in almost every single interaction that you have.
There'll be some one day that catch me.
Yeah, I mean,
there's been a few times where people have tried to fight me, and I challenge them.
Oh,
I'm like, because I'm a very large man.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, if you're gonna come at me, then I'm gonna meet you halfway.
Right.
And if I'm ready to go, if you want to go, but I don't really want to. I don't want to fight anybody.
No, of course not.
But I feel like that. I don't feel like anyone really wants to fight.
No, they don't.
It's like the bravado thing, the challenge.
Yeah, exactly. It's the idea.
Oh, there was a man outside of our apartment one night.
Oh my God.
Oh, this is a good story. This dude, I don't know what he was on, like meth. He had a bottle of tequila with him. He was just acting a fool, yelling, screaming at everybody, F this, F that. No one was like going at this guy. No one was like saying, quiet down, calm down. Just outside screaming. So finally I opened the door because he was bothered. I couldn't listen to my movie anymore. He was yelling that loud.
Sure.
So I opened the door and I walk outside. I'm like, hey man, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
Just calm, collective. He's like, oh, he started giving me all this, like my son died and all this stuff. And I'm like, man, that sucks. Like, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
But I was like, you can't be out here causing a ruckus. Like people are trying to sleep. They're trying to do their thing. And he's like, what'd you say to me? I was like, I'm just saying you shouldn't be out here causing a ruckus. Like if you need me to come sit down and chat with you, I will. But like, you just need to calm down.
It's funny because that's like, you didn't say anything inflammatory.
I still kept it chill. And then he's like, what'd you say again? And he started walking towards me, and he started walking up the steps, and I was like, okay. So I start walking towards him. And whenever we got closer to each other, he's like 5'3".
Oh my
little bitty dude. And he got up to me and he put his hand down and said, I thought that's what you said. I shook my hand.
No way.
I swear to God, shook my hand. And then he went and got his bottle and went inside.
What? That's so crazy.
Dude, I was like, I wish someone would have been here to see this. And I shit you not, my neighbor was peeking out through his door.
Yeah.
And one day we were on the rooftop, we were all kicking it.
Cool.
And he walked up and he's like, man, I was watching the entire time you and Richard were having that conversation that night. And I was like, why didn't you fucking come outside, asshole?
Right.
Like, thanks for having my back.
Seriously.
And that guy would pulled out a gun.
Exactly. He like had a knife or some shit. He pulls out a handshake. Like, what? Who does that? I've never heard of somebody doing that. That's a new one for sure.
It was hilarious. He also, the same guy, stole some packages in the, he was stealing packages in the apartment.
Dude, that's the weirdest thing.
I was stealing someone else's mail and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he stole my old roommate. He lives in the apartment too. Hit one of his packages or leaned up on his door, and he went out of town for the weekend. He didn't like let us know to go grab it, but he got back home and there was just an empty package leaned up on his door, and he knew that Richard took it.
Yeah.
So he walked up to Richard's door and threw the package at the door. And then when he did that, he went back to his room, and Richard, I don't know if he was sitting there at the door watching,
Right.
but immediately came out of the door and walked up to his room and started like beating on it.
Damn.
This guy had some issues.
Yeah, it sounds like he did, man. It sounds like he had a lot of issues.
Well, I think he's also one of those people that was probably the pills. I think the pills were his issue.
Yeah.
Because I know that a few times he was trying to ask for he was asking people for pills.
Yeah.
And I think that's just it could have been something that happened down the road, 10 years ago.
Totally, man.
That just still has his life messed up.
It's crazy because people will try to tell you like don't live in the past, but like, oh my God, it's so much easier said than done. Right.
Well, yeah, I mean the way the human brain works.
Yeah.
Like we get trapped in cycles.
Exactly, man. And it's just like people will say that to you, but then the events in your life like that, like especially like what he's saying, like son passing, whatever. That's gonna change the rest of his life.
Yeah,
the trajectory of everything.
Well, and it could have been where his son didn't just die. His son might have died, 10 years ago, and he's still using that as an excuse because that really still affects him.
Totally, it's such a complex, so complex, man. I mean, I can't understate that.
Do you watch Westworld?
No, but I should. I've heard a lot of people tell me I should.
Yeah, I love Westworld. And speaking of like psychology, I think the psychology behind the idea of Westworld is fascinating. And what I'm talking about is how the robots work. So the idea, I'm not ruining anything here for you, but the idea of Westworld is it's a theme park that's filled with these robots, and these robots are human-like.
Okay.
And wealthy humans can pay money to go to this theme park, and they can do whatever they want to with these robots.
Okay.
So if they want to, they can go kill these robots. If that's like a fantasy they have, or they can go like rape robots. They can do whatever they want to. It's like a playground for people. But the way the robots work is that they have this code, and they go in these circles every day. Okay. So you have a robot that maybe goes to the convenience store and then does this thing at the stables and goes home. Okay. But at any point in time, if a human gets involved with them, then they can move off of their cycle, their path.
I see.
Okay. So the humans actually work as well is we have our own little, our daily loops, our routines.
Yeah.
Okay. So your routine gets ingrained in your head too, because the more you do things, the more myelinated strands you get in your brain.
Sure.
So you're basically trapping yourself in your routine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Same thing these robots have. But then if you take in social media to account, so they can actually manipulate the robots' routines by manipulating the code that's running through their heads.
Okay.
So there's a central computer and it's running through their heads. The code is all day long, so they can move them if they want to.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're sitting here scrolling on social media all day long,
yep,
that's like your code, your feed.
It's true.
Okay. And these algorithms are controlling where you go because your algorithms are controlling what's coming on your feed, and that's your code. So at any point in time, they can give you something else. They can insert like an ad.
Oh yeah.
That makes you go, Wendy's sounds good today.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's freaking nuts, dude.
No, actually, you know what's funny about that? Like, is the word algorithm, because I've seen, I know like Instagram was so much more different before kind of like Facebook got it.
Mm-hmm.
But I noticed that because like I'm on Twitter, Instagram stuff, but like I'll notice that if Instagram changes their algorithm, right, where like before you would see pictures like when they were new, so you wouldn't see older pictures pop up. Now you see older pictures pop up from like 3 weeks ago. If you didn't see it or whatever, you're seeing the same pictures. People will like literally verbally say like, Instagram, change your algorithm back to whatever. And it's like, you're kind of like in that half computer kind of like mentality where you're like, change the algorithm, like change the formula for like why I'm seeing what I'm seeing. So it's almost like, I guess, meta in a little sense, because that's the name
of the company.
That is the name of the company. That is not a plug for that company.
Yeah, fuck that company. No. Speaking of Instagram algorithms, so I've been like doing this little experiment for mine for a while. So I only follow certain people, and some people get upset about it. They get butthurt about it when I don't follow them back and stuff on there. That's weird, very weird to me.
It's like top 8 MySpace stuff.
Yeah, but I don't want to I don't give a shit what you're doing in your life. No. I only follow things that I use it as like a tool to learn. Mm-hmm. So I follow pages that are giving me information that I really want to consume.
Yep.
And it's and I only like animal videos. Okay.
Okay.
So I like things that give me knowledge that I want to have, and I like animal videos, funny animal videos, because I think funny animal videos are awesome. They
yeah.
put me like in a good headspace.
Yeah, of course.
And still, that fucking algorithm shows me asses all day long.
Oh my God.
Like I never like
crazy.
any like hot chicks photos
Me
for
neither,
a
ever.
reason, for a purpose, for that reason right there.
Yeah.
But they still pop on my feed, and it's like, why are you doing this to me? Why are you trying to like take me out of my zone?
Why are you doing this to me? Is just a hilarious expression because it's so, you're like, dude, I don't want anything to do with this.
I don't want to consume that. Okay.
no.
I'm trying to live up here cerebrally, and you're trying to bring me down here into a
Exactly.
lower level.
No, I totally agree with that. Because like, you know, I think I just like videos of like guitar players all day, and like it's crazy because you're like one video of something, and all of a sudden that's all you're seeing. But absolutely true, man. It's always trying to push your thinking down to like a lower level, I think.
Yeah.
I absolutely think that too.
100%. Like if you think about like in like Hinduism, the Hindu chakra system and stuff like that. Okay. The lower 3 chakras deal with the animal urges.
Okay.
So you have your survival, which is the base chakra. Then you have sexual chakras next, and then you have your hunger. Okay. Then after that, you get into the emotional chakras. So I mean, they're trying to keep you in those lower levels of thought, lower levels of animalistic instinct, rather than staying up here in the cerebral levels and the emotional levels.
Yeah. I don't mean to be, you know, I don't mean to think that like, or like kind of like act like, oh, like, you know, if you're consuming that kind of thing, like you're not, I'm elitist to that. I'm not, but it's just like, it's just the same everywhere. It's always the same thing. It's like, I see the same, like when you get into that kind of stuff, man, it's like everybody looks the same. I'm not interested. Like, I don't care. I'm never going to interact with those people outside of Instagram. Instagram is not real. You know what I mean?
You're damn right, man. See those filters they have now. They're crazy.
It's not real, dude. It's not real. None of it is real.
Like I like the females that are like, this filter is crazy, and like they show their real face and they're like, look at this.
Yeah.
It's like how that blows my mind.
It blows my mind. It does, man. It's and it just like that's why people that are, I'll use the phrase, I always like terminally online. You know, they that's their life.
I got a few friends like that now with the NFT space, and I like used to get them to go like do other things like creative stuff.
Yeah.
And now they just want to live in that online space.
It's kind of like, I mean, it's kind of like Idiocracy, where it's just like where they already just like living in, and then the thing.
I love that movie so much.
That movie's so good, man. Oh my gosh, there's so many people that I've talked to that never saw that movie.
Yeah,
it blows my mind,
dude. Plug that movie hardcore. Idiocracy.
Plug that movie hardcore. You gotta see that.
See that shit.
Wow, that was such a good movie. Like, and I remember watching that when I was young, and I was like, I didn't realize the genius of it, and then like. Over years, I'm like, and you're like, oh my God, like it is so real.
But he wrote that just like projecting the future. He didn't even see.
Yeah.
Like that's insane.
It's insane. But people, I mean, the thing is, people are complex creatures. I totally agree with that, but they can also be so predictable.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, that's part of like, that's why the world runs the way it does today, is because they're predicting your behavior.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, going back, I mean, dude, everything you're talking about is so important because, the algorithm stuff, it drives me nuts, man. I mean, I think I looked at my screen time for Instagram the other day, and it was like 14 minutes a day, because I just go on there, I see some stuff, I'll like a video or two, and I just get off. Yeah, because
that's the way to do it. I get trapped into that cycle sometimes too. The animal videos get me.
Oh, I mean,
they hook me, dude.
Yeah, I get it. I go like I'll always watch stand up comedy too. Love stand up comedy.
There's sound bits they put on their fun.
Yeah. So there's some guys I always watch, and I'll go through tens of videos of some of those guys because I love the clips and stuff. But that's really it. But you're right. I still get stuff on my feed that I never was interested in.
There's got to be an app out there that only allows you like 15 minutes on it or something. There is. Yeah, I got to find that.
I think on a certain app. Maybe there is. I think there is.
Because that's my problem is I start scrolling, and the next thing I know, 2 hours have gone by, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, so if there was something that every 15 minutes it would like chime in and go, okay, time to get off, bitch.
Yeah, exactly. Even then, it's like you'd probably still just be like, nope, and then keep going.
Or if my phone was like, if it would make me like, it would close and I have to do 15 push-ups.
That'd be cool.
That'd be nice. Yeah.
There has to be an app for that.
You have to do 15 push-ups before you can open it again.
There has to be
That way you clear your mind. You get that little endorphin hit and you're like, okay.
Totally. No, there has to be an app for that. I think you're right.
Yeah, because I think that's the whole point behind all these social media algorithms, that they're trying to keep your dopamine going.
Oh yeah. Oh no, dude. It's just crazy how much it messes with your brain. Because I've noticed that the first thing I do in the morning is like wake up and check my phone.
Mm-hmm.
Like my eye will be open for a millisecond, and I'm like, my phone, where is it? I'm just grabbing it, and I'm looking at stuff. I don't even see it. I can't even see it.
You don't have your glasses on or anything. You're just like,
you can't even see it yet. You're just like screen, and then like it's like good, and you're and it's just crazy.
It's like you just want that blue light in your eyes. You're like,
That's
give me some
it.
of that.
You're just but it's crazy, but I'm going to continue to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Andrew Huberman. Are you familiar with him?
My name is familiar too, but I don't know.
He's a neuroscientist from Stanford University.
Okay.
Listens to his podcast all the time. Follow him on Instagram. One of the things he talks about is TikTok.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, I forgot what the actual term is for it, but it's like scene switching or something. That's what happens to your brain whenever you walk into a new room.
Mm-hmm.
You like switch the scenes.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think it's scene switch. I think it's something else, but
That's a good term.
yeah, something like that. But you walk into a new room and you get like this new scene. Okay. It's the same thing that TikTok is using, the same method. So normally in your day-to-day life, you maybe like scene switch once every or twice every 30 minutes, something like that. It's very, very low. But the stuff is, you're doing TikTok, you're getting this like switching effect 10 times every minute.
Yeah.
And he's like, we've never seen anything like this. Yeah. So we have no clue what's going to happen to the human brain.
Yeah.
Like there's not even a precedent for this. Like what's happening right now is an experiment on the human race.
Really, it is.
And he's like, there's no way to even tell what's going to happen. So
yeah.
And because it's the emotional effects it's having on people, because they're just getting dopamine hit after dopamine hit after dopamine hit. It's going to drive them deeper and deeper into a state of depression, because dopamine, when you get some, you want more.
Yeah. Like any neurotransmitter. Right?
Yeah.
It's crazy. And that's like what I remember. I remember when this is an interesting one. I had a professor, I guess just a teacher in high school, and we were like in like 9th grade, but he was still telling us like things like where he was like, don't do drugs because like you're never going to get back to normal again. You're never going to get back to baseline, because once you are, that is your baseline. Like your natural human being baseline is gone. Forget about it. And I was like 9th grade, and I'm like, I don't know what the hell this dude's talking about, but you're right. He's a super old Greek dude. But I was like, but he's so right, because, like when you do that, you're forming like a baseline where you want to see that scene switching. Mm-hmm. That's your like natural, like, I guess like I'll use the word homeostasis, but it's just like, that is your natural standard. And when you're not doing that, then, you're just sitting there in the living room, like trying to watch Netflix. The scene's not switching fast enough. Your brain isn't getting it fast enough. And like, it's everything. So then everything below that scene switching thing is negative. Yeah. Net negative for your brain, I think.
Yeah. So there's actually a way to come back from it. It's dopamine detox.
Ooh.
So the things that you like to do.
Sounds miserable.
Oh, it is. Yeah. I've actually done it.
Really?
Yeah. So anything that you like to do that you find pleasurable, you just don't do it for like a week.
Oh God.
Like 7 to 10 days, you don't do it. And that's the whole idea behind the Vipassana. You heard of Vipassana?
No, I've never heard that.
Okay. Vipassana is a 10-day silent retreat.
Okay.
Okay. You go and you basically meditate like 5 or 6 times a day, and you don't say anything for 10 days. And you don't like use your phone. You don't do anything else. You eat you eat food, and you just like sit and meditate and do your thing. But what you're doing is you're doing a dopamine detox on yourself.
That's actually really interesting.
Yeah. So it's way easier to do in a place like that. But I mean, I've done one like around here and stuff, and I still do my job and everything, but then I just go home and like sleep, or I read, and you set yourself back to the baseline. But it's almost like you're going through withdrawals if you've gone really deep. Yeah. Like if you're in the TikTok realm where you're just doing this all day, and you're on your SSRIs because you're depressed and you don't know why you're depressed, but you're depressed because you're literally setting your homeostasis, at a different level. That's right. Then it's very difficult to get off that stuff.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. It's crazy too. Cause I'm like somewhat neurotic. I definitely have baseline anxiety, but, and it's maybe, I don't know. It's weird but I don't want to like medicate. Like I refuse to do it because I I get along every day just fine, but it's like I kind of want to I'd rather use my brain, like be able to control my thoughts than hand it over to something like a synthetic drug like that. And I'm saying that as a chemist, which might be a little bit hypocritical, but
no, I think that's actually better that you're saying this, because you're a chemist. You understand what's actually going on.
Yes.
And you'd still rather be a human rather than depend on something else.
Yeah. And because I mean, there is, dude, I mean, some of the drugs that are out are miracles, like definitely can help people, but it just seems like everything is excess. Everything is given to excess or not at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like moderation is like it just seems is like not real anymore. And I'm also guilty of that. So I'm not,
I think we all are.
Right.
Yeah. And you're still younger. So, I mean,
yeah,
like me, when I was your age, I think I was bartending on Bourbon Street. So I was very excessive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the street of excess. That might as well be called excess street.
Yeah. I mean, it was a rough time for me.
I bet.
Yeah. But it was a very interesting learning experience.
I was going to say, I bet you learned so much out of that.
So much, man. Yeah. Learned a lot of what not to do.
Yeah. And it's just as important as learning what to do.
Yeah.
Right. Because, people don't learn that enough. And, it's crazy.
But you know what helped me the most was when someone introduced me to psilocybin.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When I had my first mushroom trip, it wasn't even it's not a trip. Like I just had some psilocybin ingested in my system.
Yeah.
And my eyes like opened. I was like, holy shit. Have you ever taken any psychedelics or anything?
Not really.
Okay. You don't have to talk about it if you want to.
No.
Okay.
Not really.
Okay. Yeah. Psilocybin changed my life, man.
Really?
Yeah. It's one of the most fascinating drugs on the planet. And I think that more people should try it.
I think for the general audience, it should be. I know there's like some startups and some like pharma companies that are getting into like, doing that.
Yeah, they're doing some work on it. Yeah.
They're doing a lot of work on it. It's getting more popularized. I mean,
but I don't understand. Like when pharma gets their hands on shit, they end up fucking it up.
They pervert it.
Yeah. They get people hooked on it. And it's like this is not something that they need to even have their hands on. Go grow some mushrooms and fucking eat them.
I agree. But you know what's crazy is I remember going to my first chemistry conference ever in 2013 in San Diego, I think. And so like not to get away from the psilocybin, I want to go back to that, but cannabis in therapeutic purposes, like that was not even 10 years ago. And when I was there was a huge poster that was like it was huge. It was, I don't even know how to describe it. And it was just talking about cannabis and the use of, not terpenes. I'm going to forget, but cannabis for medicinal properties. Mm-hmm. And it was still taboo then. Like 10 years ago, like, people were still like wrestling with that. And this dude had the largest crowd gathered around him, I think, just because of the controversiality of like having that at like a formal chemistry conference and discussing something like that. Because like I said, it was still like, I don't know if I'm wrong, but like it was like medicinal marijuana was still even taboo back then. Like it's gained a lot of ground in the past 10 years.
It has come a long way in 10 years. Yeah.
Right. And so like, I think psilocybin is like kind of primed for that same thing because, I mean, dude, all like the, people saying like, you can die from it. You can't die from it. You can't. I mean, unless you ingest more weight than you weigh.
Well, you can die, but it's going to be ego death.
Right.
So you're gonna think you're dying, right. And then when you come out the other side, it's gonna be like, holy shit. Mm-hmm. That's what happened to me at one point in time. And I am a huge fan of cannabis too. Like I don't want to like go away from that.
No.
But no, I think there's more. Like there's so much that can be done with that. Yeah. Even like separating the CBD with the THC.
Yes.
Like I think right now what we're doing is we're perverting the drug with escalating the THC levels to such a high that and decreasing the CBD, we're actually causing more paranoia than we are. Because there's a reason there's a balance in the drug.
Totally.
There's a balance because you have the THC, which is the psycho or the part that makes you go high. And then you have the CBD, which mellows you out. It's the anxiety part. Yeah. So, I mean, it's cool to like separate those out, but you need them to combine to make the full effect of the marijuana. Like the CBD is just a good anxiety drug if you ever have anxiety.
I've taken CBD gummies before, and they're actually, I mean, it's great.
Yeah.
It actually really works.
Oh, I've slept on some gummies before like that, and it's the sleep is so deep. It's nice.
Peaceful. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice.
But yeah, some of those strains of weed now are just insane, man. Like,
it's
and
crazy,
they cause people to have psychosis.
Yeah.
Like they literally cause people to go into psychosis. So you got to be careful with what you're smoking. Especially like the ones that just hit wax pens all day. It's like, dude,
I know.
you don't know what you're ingesting. But anyway, so the psilocybin,
Yes.
the really transformative like experience that I had, I was pushing the boundaries of some like meditation practices. So I was like fasting, and I was celibate at the time.
Oh wow.
So yeah, I was basically, because the whole way the theory is that you have, your body is like a PC, right? A computer. Okay. You have so much processing power that you can use at one time.
Sure.
Okay. So if you're digesting food, you're diverting processing power to the digestive system.
Yes.
If you're producing new semen because you've ejaculated, you're putting processing power to that. But if you shut those two systems down, then you have more energy in your body to use for cerebral type situations.
Sure.
So if you ingest some psilocybin and you have those systems shut down, and then you can push that energy into your brain, you can have all kinds of crazy things go on. So that's what I was doing, this kind of meditation practice. And then I ingested a little bit of psilocybin, not even much. It was like a cap and a stem.
Okay.
It's like nothing, but it was enough in my system for me to have a little bit of the effects. And dude, I had one of the craziest experiences ever. And when you talk about ego death, like I thought I was dying.
That's crazy.
But I think that was part of the ego death, is when you realize that it's going to happen to all of us, then you start living life and doing what you want to do.
Yeah.
Rather than living for the system that we live in.
That's awesome. That sounds like you got a great experience.
It's great to look back on and go, that happened. But in the time it's going on.
Yeah, it's terrifying. Terrifying. Yeah. No, I've been interested in that. But I can't do it because, I don't want to, like, it might sound, you probably wouldn't agree, but I don't want to explore that part of my mind. Like there's too much that I've dealt with, and too much that I don't want to think about. And, I know, like, and this is going to sound like kind of like antithetical, like against like what you're saying, which is like the ego death, experiencing that. But for me personally, I just don't want to go there because I'm afraid, like, if I lose control of my mind, I don't know what the hell I'm going to think or how I'm going to come out. And so even more kudos to you for like letting yourself go through that ego death, everything.
Well, I think, dude, for me, I was at the point where if I don't have something, I'm throwing it all to the wind. Cause like it was at this like really low time when I was on Bourbon Street bartending. I was like 3 years in, and I think I just lost my job, and I was just like, I was going through a really low point in life, and I was like, fuck it, man. If this kills me, whatever. And then luckily when I started doing it, I was like, oh, this is great. I should have been doing this a long time ago. But like I said, it's not for everyone. And I think that the people that think they need to have the experience, they should have the experience.
They should
have the ability to have the experience.
Absolutely.
It shouldn't be illegal.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, dude, it's just like I said, like with cannabis, it's just, there's been so much, I don't even know. I know the agenda against cannabis goes back to like, I'm pretty sure
it was after prohibition, alcohol prohibition.
Pulitzer. I'm pretty sure like somebody was trying to, I think Pulitzer, the guy of the Pulitzer Prize.
I don't know.
Apparently I remember seeing this. He didn't want, hemp was like introduced as like an alternative to paper, but he obviously had a huge stake in newspaper being on paper from wood. And, so they basically blackballed that entire industry, and that lasted for forever. And, that's crazy though.
I mean, it makes sense, dude. This entire fucking world is all based off how much money can somebody make. And when someone's in power that's also making money, you have a bad combo.
Yeah.
The reason we have so many issues in the world right now is because we have so many millionaires and billionaires in Congress.
Yeah.
Because they're going to do what's best for them. It's like human nature.
Yeah.
I mean, anytime that I don't want to get into it.
No. I know. We really can.
Oh my God. I talk about it all the time, way too much, I'm sure. No, but I am so against having millionaires in Congress. It should be the everyday working people.
Well, you've seen like the whole stock trading thing, right? The whole insider trading stuff.
Yeah.
Like basically like where I know Nancy Pelosi is the one that they love to dunk on her, but
I want to headbutt her so bad.
But what's crazy is what everybody says is true, that both sides are actually in cahoots. Like people are arguing for one side or the other.
Mm-hmm.
Then the people from both sides are going to dinner together. They're going to dinner at places you'll never get to and just laughing at shit.
Yeah.
And you're the one that's like on Facebook arguing for like that one guy. But guess what? The person that you're saying like you hate and you love, they're both together right now at dinner, hanging out, shooting it.
You know what they say, red and blue, they're two wings of the same eagle.
That's right. Yeah. I've heard that.
Yeah.
That's so true. But anyway, like, yeah, dude, it's like there's a lot of guys on both sides. A lot of people on both sides that are making, insane returns in stock market trading with a ton of money, and they're timing it perfectly, right? Like how coincidental,
right?
Before like
a bill gets cast.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody the other day about a recent transaction that happened where Nancy Pelosi's husband bought a bunch of NVIDIA chips.
Yep, that's right. And then
he sold them to China. They were talking bad. They didn't want him to sell them to China. They were trying to pass a bill where he couldn't do it.
Yep.
So he did it like before the bill ever passed.
Yep.
And he's like, but I did it at a loss. And it's like, okay, asshole.
Exactly, yeah.
So I have a theory about that. So I think that the U.S. government, okay. So I was watching this video the other day. It was about cycles of time, cycles of history.
Okay.
Okay. And I forgot what the number was, maybe like 340 years. But it was the currency cycles. So what it was saying is that if you look back through history, you can see where a collapse of an empire went, and also the collapse of a world currency or a global currency. Yeah. And then you see the next power rise up. You can actually see the arcs and the declines of them. Mm-hmm.
It's cyclical, yeah.
Yeah. So if you look at the cycle right now, you'll see that our global currency, the dollar, is now falling with the U.S. economy. We're all going down, and the one that's coming up, the one that's going to be the next cycle, is China.
Right.
So they're the next power that should be the next cycle. So it makes sense that he was selling NVIDIA chips to China.
Right. Okay.
Because NVIDIA chips, graphics cards, are what they use for cryptocurrency.
Sure.
So if China's the next one in line, and they're buying all these NVIDIA chips, they're going to make more graphics cards because their next currency they're going to have is going to be a form of crypto, a blockchain. Mm-hmm. So it makes a lot of sense. And the fact that U.S. government was trying to block the sale is because they know the cycle is coming and they know that the dollar's about to fall.
Yeah.
And the next one that's going to come up is obviously China.
But it's just strange to me how, it doesn't have to. Like, it's kind of like they're just like, they know, and they're already like, they're not doing anything to kind of like prevent or stop it or like kind of hold ourselves up.
Right.
That's just kind of weird to me.
Well, it's because the people that are in power right now are idiots.
Yeah. I mean,
it's weak leadership.
I've seen people be like, I'm not an idiot, so I won't run for president.
Right.
Because it's a scapegoat position.
But that's part of the cycle, though. Part of the cycle is when you have a weak leader in power, we have weak leadership right now, then the economy and stuff falls.
I think, man, it's like, I think that like when you compare leaders now to how they were back then, the thing is they're so, leaders back then were so highly touted, but they were created out of necessity. Right. It's like you have guys like Jimmy Carter, right? And he like that dude, I'm pretty sure he was part of a crew that stopped the nuclear meltdown.
Well, you're thinking too close in the cycle though.
Oh,
we're talking about fall of empires like Rome.
Oh, okay.
When Rome fell, whoever was before them, I forgot who it was, but I'm talking about times.
You're talking about entire.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool because when you start looking at it that way, you also see that each time an empire falls, each time a currency falls, the globe expands. So the next cycle that comes up, so like the Earth right now or United States of America, we're like a global society right now.
That's right.
Okay. So the fall of what's going to happen right now is going to bring about the world currency. So we're going to be the Earth after this rather than just like countries.
Man, that'd be pretty. I mean,
it's it's terrifying to think about.
Yeah, it
because
is.
it's like,
Because you got to live through it.
well, no, each time that one falls, there's a war that happens before it falls.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. So it's like, is that going to happen this time? Or are we above that mentally as a globe to usher this new foundation? Because it's going to happen. Like, it's just part of it.
I mean, dude, wars in human civilization are like eating closer than peanut butter jelly, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't think that the globe has ever been at like 100% peace.
You think it ever will be?
No.
You don't think there's a possibility?
I think maybe, but I think what you're saying is an ideal and actually somewhat possible that like people will mentally rise above that. People will get to the point where they're like, why are we doing this? What scares me now actually is like, and I used to think that they weren't this close to being able to do this, but like technology, but I'm worried that like you're going to get into Terminator like status, like give it 100 years and you're just going to have robots fighting wars for you. And because
actually, I'm a Terminator. I was sent back in time to come and start a podcast.
I love it. Dude, but that's something that like I actually am like, because the first thing is the defense industry is huge, right? So they're not going to just get rid of that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that has to go somewhere. And I've seen stuff with like the like walking robots and everything, and you're talking about graphics cards, all kinds of electronic industries. That's like, that is the, like, it's huge and it's still growing like so fast.
You know, the dog robots that you're,
That's what I was thinking.
yeah.
Too.
So they actually have those now with guns on them.
That's what I'm saying.
That's terrifying.
That's what I'm saying. So but it won't even be humans that are fighting anymore. It's going to be just robots. It's as if it's like a video game.
Well, this is the problem though, when you get AI involved in this.
Yeah.
So what if the AI takes over the robots, and then it looks at us like we're the roaches. We're the cockroaches of the planet.
Yeah.
Like we're speaking on a global scale, like we're the ones that are causing all the issues. So the AI would just be like, well, gotta go, humans.
Yeah. I still think we are far away from that, but I don't think I think it's absolutely achievable. It's totally.
You play video games?
I do.
Okay. We my buddy and I fell into this game. It's called Generation Zero. You've heard of this? It's an Xbox game.
Yeah, I think I have heard of it. I play Xbox, so okay. I think I have heard of it.
Oh man, if you play Xbox, you got to check this out. Yeah, I think it's pretty cheap. It might be free. I don't know.
Interesting.
But it's a cool game. It's about it's basically based off what we're just talking about, where robots like take over.
Mm-hmm.
And you are this guy who's on this like island, this land, and you have to go kill all these robots, and they're extremely difficult to kill, and the AI does a really good job. Their NPC robots are very hard to guard, so to say.
Interesting.
Yeah, they move really quick. They kill you super fast. So it's very realistic.
Very realistic, right?
Yeah. So I think
gotta get into that.
You check it out.
That's cool.
If you get on it, we'll play.
I will.
Yeah, because it's a multiplayer game.
Dude, I've been playing Halo for like the past like 20 years.
You a Halo guy?
Never get off of it. Yeah. Like, it's crazy.
So I recently I bought a PC a while back. I've never been a PC gamer.
Me neither, you know.
But I bought one for editing movies and stuff.
Sure.
Yeah. And but I had this PC and I was like, well, since I got it now, I might as well try a game.
Yeah.
So my buddy who's a streamer, online streamer, shout out Valor Gaming. We have Valor Gaming.
Valor Gaming, nice.
Yeah. He plays this game called Tarkov, Escape from Tarkov.
Yes, I've seen streams about this. Yeah.
Dude, I downloaded that game. I've been so freaking hooked on it.
I got to get on that.
Well, I would definitely play. If we'll get you on that game too, because you would love it too.
Yeah,
Do you have a PC to stream?
I don't have a gaming PC. I'm the only one of my friends right now that doesn't have a gaming PC.
Now, if you score your gaming PC, we'll play Tarkov together. But if you download this other game, we'll play it too, because it's really fun.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's good, because I need new games. I haven't seen anything like recently that's been interesting to me.
Generation Zero, bro.
Cool.
We can kill some robots together.
That's awesome. I don't know if you ever heard of the XCOM games. XCOM.
What is that?
That's an Xbox game too, but it's
Aliens,
like,
right?
Aliens.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's turn based, and it's like aliens are like have come back, and like they are God damn. I played the game so many times. I put so many hours into it. What's the story? But basically they're taking humans and they're making them into like, it's like basically like they're taking humans, making them into food and stuff like this. But you don't find out until like into the game. They're like these giant factories, and they're like, why are they taking all these humans? And you find out, and you're like, you gotta like, and it's like a turn-based game. It's really simple in concept, but super fun, dude. Honestly, you can dump hours into it.
So they're eating humans?
So they have factories where they're just like they're eating humans, and they're like putting them in these tanks, and it's wild.
How do they eat us?
Oh, I don't even remember. It's like basically they're aliens. They're way more advanced, of course, and they're saying like, oh, like you gotta bow to our empire, all this stuff, and like we're your commanders and stuff, and it turns out they're just using humans for food, and there's like a small like pockets of resistance, but most of the earth is already taken over by these guys. Like they already like running the world. And it's super crazy because you'll be like the loading screen and there's like this like weird like wow, and it's like the picture of like their empire emblem, and it's like so it's really immersive too. It's actually a great game.
Dude, that's trippy to hear. Like there was a thing that was on in Westworld again. It's back to Westworld.
Yeah.
Where they were using sound to control humans. Like they found this like sound and that would allow them to manipulate humans.
See, that stuff is crazy, man, because I don't know. You're making my mind like fire in a million different ways, because this is all super interesting stuff. Like I've always loved like thinking about this sci-fi stuff. So
I think there's truth to it. I think so. There was I forget what the actual show was called. Colony. The Colony. I think it's called The Colony.
The Colony. I've heard of the show.
Yeah,
too.
It's it got canceled after like 3 seasons. But the 3rd season was like finally getting into like the meat of the show.
Right.
So what the basis was is like these aliens came to Earth and they were using, they basically came down to these cities and they put these massive walls up, like huge walls. They just came down and put them up, and they were all around the city, and they used robots, these like robots to control the people. And what they would do is they would look at like social medias, and they would find these certain humans that they wanted to be in political, to be in politics. And they would use they would find humans they could control.
Yeah.
And they would do this by using social medias. Oh, wow. By seeing what you put on social media. And so they would control these people as the politicians, and most people would like fall in line, but there was some resistance to them. And the people that were resisting, they would just kill them. Or they would take them, they would put them on the colony. So the colony was this moon base. And no one ever knew what happened to the people that went to the moon base, but they never came back. Yeah. They were on this base on the moon. So the story goes on, and these people are trying to get away, trying to get outside of the city walls and find their son and stuff. But what you find out is that these aliens that were in the ship, they never came down. The aliens didn't. They were cyborgs too, but they were like humans. So they used to be like humans.
Wow, yeah.
And now they just basically, got rid of their bodies, and their souls were like in these machines now.
That they wouldn't. So cool.
Yeah. So what they were doing was they had better technology than the other aliens. So they got to the Earth quick enough, because there were these other aliens that were coming to the Earth to kill everything. So they used their like hyperdrives to move faster than the other aliens did.
Yeah.
And they tried to get to Earth to build a structure around Earth, like with lasers or something like that. And they were using the people in the colony on the moon to build for like labor, to build these machines they could use as a shield for the Earth. So the humans were fighting the ones that were actually trying to save their lives.
Yeah.
And they just didn't realize it.
No.
Yeah. And so finally in the end of the 3rd season, the aliens they were trying to get ahead of made it to Earth, and they got on the Earth, and the season ends. And it's like, what the fuck? And they canceled the show.
Out yet? Oh, they canceled the show?
They canceled the show.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I was like, is there a way I can go read a book or something? Like I need to know what happens at the end of this.
There has to be other people that are like pissed about this.
Oh, there's a whole like subreddit and everything about this.
That's unbelievable. That's so bad.
Well, I think that sometimes these things get so close to the truth of what could be going on. Because if you start thinking about the show on a larger level, you'll see that we live in a world that's walled off. Yeah. Like we're in the United States of America. Yeah, Canada's above us. Mexico's below us. Like you can't go to these places unless you have a passport. That's the exact same thing that was happening in this show. In order to leave the walls and go to another section where there's walls, you had to have a piece of paper.
Sure.
You had to be you had to notify the authorities that you were going to this place, and you had to be approved. Okay. And politicians are just controlled puppets.
Sure. Of course.
So, I mean, there's truth to it in our society. They're just putting it in a situation where it makes people, might wake people up to the truth.
Sure. No, totally. And I like, dude, I mean, that's the thing is truth, in terms of like how people are living, what society is all about, it's fascinating. You know what I mean? Like what is actually going on? Like what are you perceiving? Is what you're perceiving real? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Who has the ultimate truth?
Yeah.
There was an experiment done a while back that I think it shows how to get the ultimate truth. Right. So the experiment was by a mathematician, and I talk about this all the time, but he took a jar full of jelly beans. I think I probably talked to you about this. And he went to an office building, like full of like 5,000 people. And he asked everyone in the building, how many jelly beans are in this jar? And like maybe 1 or 2 people got it right, but not very many people got it right. And then he took the average of the 5,000 guesses that he got, and he came within 2 to 3 jelly beans every single time he redid the experiment.
Yeah.
And it's based off the law of large numbers, which states that the more data samples you get, the closer you get to the truth.
To the truth, right?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So if you ask enough people a question, that should be the ultimate truth, but the individual doesn't really know. But it shows that there's something bleeding through all of us.
That we all have like as a collective, we have an idea of what.
Well, we are all the same thing. We're one. Totally. We're all the earth.
Totally.
But the earth is like bleeding through all of us, and that's the truth. The truth is earth.
Yeah. I mean, even, it's like, oh man, yeah, that's so true. I'm just really trying to digest what you're saying, and I'm like, yeah, it's like makes me think of like Tool songs and stuff. But it's like, man, yeah, we definitely are all connected, and like people's.
Does Tool sing about this stuff?
Oh, dude, yeah, they
I never really got into Tool.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Oh no, the lyrics are super heavy. I'm not like, and the funny thing about Tool's fan base is people get like really annoyed by them.
The Maynard guy.
Maynard, yeah,
yeah, I'm not a big fan of his. Just him as a human being.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think
he's extremely polarizing, dude. Extremely polarizing.
I saw him on Rogan. I think it was Rogan. And just him talking on Rogan, I was like, this guy.
No, he's something else. I
didn't know how to read him. That was my thing.
No, he's extremely hard to read. That's the thing. Is like I never have. I wanted to at one point like get an idea of what that guy was like, what he's about. Never could.
Yeah, I think that was what confused me about him. But that's also probably why he's good at making music.
Yeah,
he has a different view than most people do.
Yeah, and he's not afraid to kind of like attack a lot of things. But I don't know how I feel about that either. So it's really odd. But I think their album Lateralis is super good. But that's the thing is a lot of Tools fans, they get a lot of stick because they tend to like say like, oh, like if you're listening to this music and you don't understand the higher meaning, like you're an idiot or something like that. Like they're really about like the higher meaning of the music. But like I'm kind of more moderate about that, where I'm like, oh no, this music actually does like have a lot of truth to it.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's like the scripture or something.
That one Tool song that I've heard that I really liked, it wasn't even him singing Maynard. It was like some little girl. They were doing a cover of it. This guy has like a music class or something that he does in New York City, and he like films the kids singing and stuff sometimes.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I think it was 46 and 2 or something like that. Yeah, and this girl sang it, and I was like, holy shit, like this is...
Oh, it rocks.
Yeah.
That song rocks. I know that school too, man. They're super good. I've seen them do all kinds of like hard rock covers.
Yeah, the covers, yeah.
They are awesome. That guy, I've seen that school on YouTube, man. They go viral like every month or something like that, right? I was going to ask you, actually, back to the movie thing. Have you ever seen the movie The Island?
No, I don't think so. What is it about?
Okay, so that you would love that movie. I actually loved that movie. I can't remember who the 2 main characters are in it, but I just remember Steve Buscemi was in it, and I just remember like because that dude is so unique and
he's very unique.
And but he was in that movie, and basically, I think it was Scarlett Johansson, dude. But I don't want to be, I don't know, and another male co-lead. But basically, what it's about is you're set in this kind of like facility, like very modern, like hundreds of years in the future, and it's all humans and everything. And they're like programmed. They have a programmed life. They're told like, okay, your food's ready for you here. It's almost like it looks like a prison almost, but it's super modern. They're free to do kind of whatever they want within the walls and whatever. And they don't think freely. There's no like free will, or like they don't think like, what if I was out of here? They just enjoy their lives, whatever. And then I think every month or so or something like that. It's been so long since I've seen this movie, but every so often they'll be like, oh, you're going to get selected or something. You're going to get chosen to be raptured. I forget what the actual thing is, but the idea is that you're transcending. You're going to go to a higher place. And they're like, I want to be selected. I'm going to win the lottery or whatever it is. And the person that gets selected is going to go to the island. That's what it is. They're going to go to the island, and the island is supposedly a paradise. And it's this, and like they have, they show videos of this place, and they're like, oh, it's your wildest dreams. It's the Elysian fields of existence. And a person gets selected and everything. And they're like, oh man, I wish we can go. Finally, one of them gets selected. One of the leads gets selected, and they realize that actually the island isn't totally made up. Obviously, you can see that coming. Totally made up. And what they actually are, everybody in that place, in that facility, are all clones of elites, celebrities, football players, everything else.
Oh, wow.
And what they actually use them for, the clones.
Organ replacement.
What the fuck? It will blow your mind, dude. So and like it gets graphic. Like they find one of the clones like getting worked on and like getting surgery, and he's a clone of like a big football player. Like, so they were trying to replace his whatever, and they killed him too. Like once they go there, they just take the organ and kill the dude, the clone. And they figure it out, and they go on the run and everything, and they're running, and the rest of the world is dystopian, completely dystopian. So it's like a desert. Everything else is just wrecked, and they're on the run, running from these giant robots that like are trying to get them back. They run into Steve Buscemi in the desert somehow. He's like a recluse. But oh my God. And I think they finally end up like getting free somehow, but what a ride. It's like, dude, it's like one of those first movies that,
that's crazy. Terrifying, man.
It's terrifying. I mean,
what if that's a real thing?
I mean,
that could totally be a real thing, and we just wouldn't know it. Like, there's so many islands on the planet.
Oh man, dude, like who knows what the fuck is going on?
That's what I think about. Like when they say that people like Epstein, hung himself or whatever.
That's not true.
It's like he's probably on a fucking island somewhere sipping pina coladas.
Yeah, I don't buy any of that stuff.
No, it's like
because they're only gonna tell us what we want it, what they want.
Right.
Like I don't know. I'm not gonna believe that you guys did with whatever you did with this guy that you tell me.
Right.
Like it could be the truth, and it could also be so far from the truth. It could be the exact opposite.
Yeah, my thing is, unless I kill him with my own hands, like I don't. Yeah, he's on an island somewhere sipping pina
exactly.
coladas.
You really can only trust what you can see.
Yeah,
kind of. So that's why I think like dude, and it's great that we have camera phones and everything, but then people like there's also such an evolution of technology. You got things like deep fakes going on. AI technology that's able to like,
dude, the deep fakes are insane.
Deep fakes are freaking wild. Dude, my girlfriend's really into America's Got Talent. I'm like, whatever. I don't really watch TV, but all I watch is MasterChef, and we're watching America's Got Talent, and these guys made it so that like Simon Cowell, Terry Crews, and Howie Mandel, they had 3 opera singers, but they were behind cameras on there. So what they projected on the screens was actually their faces singing at opera.
The deepfake did this?
So the 3 opera singers are on stage in front of the live audience, but then they have 3 cameras pointed directly at their faces and like their torso up. And so what's projected on the screen actually is the faces of like Simon Cowell, Howie Mandel, and Terry Crews on the bodies of the opera singers
in real time. That's crazy.
In real time. And they're like mind blown. The group is called Metaphysic. But it's all AI generated stuff, like in real time, and it's scary, dude. Like people are like, "Oh, that's so cool." I'm like, are you kidding me? Like that shit. It should be illegal.
Like, it's like, yeah, it's cool, but it needs to be like regulated. Super regulated. I hate saying regulated because that takes away. Like
yeah.
With crypto right now, the government's regulating the shit out of it.
Yeah.
But they're regulating it for the wrong reasons. They're regulating it for control.
Of course.
So the whole idea behind decentralized currencies and decentralized platforms is that the government can't control it.
That's right.
So whenever I hear regulations, I just think about that right now. And it just like irks me.
Yeah, it is.
But there are certain things that are fucking terrifying, like AI. And that really does need to be like, hold up, let's pull the reins back.
Yeah, man. It is terrifying, dude, because it could be anybody. It won't be just Simon Cowell or like Howie Mandel. Like nobody cares. Like people know what that dude is. But like, there's also a Twitter page that says it's called Images. I don't know the actual name. But it's like images of face generated images by an AI, and the AI will like generate images of people. They don't exist, but they're real looking faces. So they're faces of people that don't actually exist. So an AI can do that, where they can make up a completely different person from nothing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's crazy, right? That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, dude. So it's like, even then,
what if it is actually you though that the AI is creating? Like, wouldn't that be nuts?
No, wouldn't that be nuts? But
would that make you think that you're not real?
That's what I'm getting into.
If it's creating humans that aren't real yet, but it looks just like you, it's like, whoa, am I even here?
And seeing this stuff, I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, you guys, it's getting too much. It's getting too much.
Well, have you seen the image creator where you can go and say like make me a picture of heaven, and AI will actually create a picture of what it thinks heaven's like?
I've seen this search tool. Yeah.
So
I haven't used it.
When you start thinking about that, and also think about the experiment that I was telling you about, the jelly bean experiment.
Mm-hmm.
So what this AI thing is doing is it's drawing from like all these databases of ideas and this collective knowledge that we've built up. Mm. So it's literally drawing from everything that's been collected on the earth. All the information. So it is almost like it's God. It's we're feeding it all the knowledge that we have. Sure. So it's drawing. Yes. So if you ask it anything you want to, it's going to give you an image of what could be the truth.
So I've seen people using that, and I was just like, oh, that's cool. But I don't know why I never thought to use it. I guess, but yeah, if you start doing like giving it like kind of like ambiguous terms and like seeing what it comes up with, that's super interesting.
So I've never used it either, but I've seen other people do it like on Instagram and stuff. And one that I posted the other day, I reshared it. It was show me what future technology looks like. Show me what future inventions look like.
What did it give you?
It wasn't me that did it, but like some of the stuff they were doing was like these awesome, like steampunk looking inventions. They were like these cool technologies. I don't have a clue. Like, I don't know what it even was, but it looks so fucking dope.
That's cool.
Yeah. I'll send you that one too.
No, I that's what I think, man. I love that stuff. I love like, future looking stuff. I don't know. It's just so intriguing to me, man. Yeah.
So what you got? Last thoughts. What you got?
Last thoughts. Chemistry is cool, man. You can be a free thinker, mm-hmm. and go to another bar. Give Kyle all your money.
You don't have to do that.
No, it's good.
Hey, but I'm looking forward to following what you do in life, man. I think you got a good head on your shoulders, and I'm glad that I've known you for as long as I have. So I'm looking forward to see where you go.
It's been a pleasure, man. And like, I'll always come back and find you, and you're always gonna be a friend to me.
Hell yeah.
But like, yeah, the life is crazy, man. You like where I'm gonna end up 5-10 years, I have no idea.
You never know, man.
I never would have thought 10 years ago that I'd end up here mm-hmm. in New Orleans, like hanging out, and so I can't even fathom where I'll be in 10 years.
Yeah.
Or you.
You got anywhere people can follow you online and stuff, social medias?
Yeah. I have Instagram. You can just basically look at my first and last name, Noah Beltrami, on Instagram.
You post science stuff on there?
I do have a science Instagram, so I'll post like what I'm actually doing in lab. I know we're about to finish, but dude, people will think like mixing chemicals, like they are like doing chemistry. It's really like mixing like two white powders together, and you just make a new molecule. Like that's it. Like it's like mixing like salt, like something looks like salt, and something looks like flour together in a clear liquid. It's not water, but it's like some other like shit. Yeah. And you make a new molecule, and it's like
you see what that molecule does,
but it's like so much more like graspable.
Yeah,
you're able to grasp it so much more when you realize it's like actually not that crazy.
Yeah,
like you take a piece of glass and you're just putting stuff in there, just mixing it.
Dude, that's been the biggest thing for me is realizing that when it comes to science and stuff, that I can actually I can understand it.
Yeah.
Like it's if you understand the base concepts of it, then you can get a grasp on what's going on.
No, and the other thing is specifically to you, man. I mean, I always hated how people like kind of like would some people would I don't know what to say. They wouldn't like really like the term mixologist or like whatever for a lot of cocktail bartenders and everything, and even bartenders, but like they're doing chemistry actually in that glass, like using aromatics, other things. You're manipulating like the properties of molecules and other things like that. So that there's a lot of reality to that.
Yeah, no, I tell people that I make poison taste really good. Yeah.
There is some reality to that.
All right, Noah, thank you for coming in today, brother.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Loved having it.